How's everybody doing? So you already know me, I'm fired up. Every day I wake up fired up. And I thank you, Aimee, for having me here today. I pray to God that they, postponed the Kavanaugh hearing while I was going to be here, which they did, and I'll be there on Monday. And I think something that Aimee just said is really important, because I'm here because I said something at the Women's March in 2017. And I want you to remember what I said, because it was very important to me to say this, particularly because there was a lot of white women that came to the Women's March. I said, if you want to know if you are going the right way, follow women of color, because we know where justice is, because when we fight for justice, we fight for all people. I stand by that. And when we talk about even the Kavanaugh hearings, which is the most recent drama that we found ourselves in, it was me and Jennifer Epps Addison, a black woman, who were the first women to stand up courageously and boldly and declare that that was a mockery of justice that was happening in that hearing room. And I want to make some things clear, because I come here from Brooklyn. And if you know anything about Brooklyn and people born and raised in Brooklyn, it must be something in the water. Maybe it's the hospitals we're born at. I'm not exactly sure what it is. But we speak truth to power. We don't have filters. We're not out here to make people feel comfortable. We say it like it is. You take it, you don't take it, that's not on me. I hear a lot of people saying, black women save us, women of color out here saving us. No, let's just be really clear about what's happening. Black women are saving black people and black communities and marginalized people. Women of color were fighting for our people. And what happens when we fight for our people is that when black women are free and Native women are free and Latinas are free and Asian Americans are free and Palestinian women are free and Arab American women are free and trans women are free, then everybody's free. So that's what we're doing here. I'm not trying to save someone who has a lot more privilege than I have. When my people are saved, then we're all saved. So that's the first clarification that I'd like to make. What women of color also have a great understanding of a practicality is this idea of intersectionality. And I want to, because people are watching, let's just define it one more time, and let's be clear that this is a term given to us by a black woman named Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw. So let's be credit where it's due. Intersectionality is not about black women and white women organizing together, or black women and Asian women, that's not what intersectionality is. So if that's what you think it is, delete. I'm about to give you the definition. Intersectionality is this idea, this tangible opportunity for us to organize across oppression. The idea that you can't combat anti-black racism without also combating xenophobia and misogyny and sexism and anti-Semitism and Islamophobia and transphobia and homophobia. That you can't just fight against one branch on the larger tree of racism. That we have to understand that we are whole people. I am a woman and a woman of color. I am a Muslim woman. I'm also a daughter of immigrants. I live in an urban city. I come as a whole person. I'm a mom. So when we ask people to show up in a space and leave a part of them out because it makes somebody else feel uncomfortable, that is not intersectionality. So they said, Linda, you're really divisive because you always want to talk about race. You're a race baiter. And a New York Times reporter asked me this about a few weeks before the Women's March of 2017. They said, look, we're looking at your Facebook page, and it feels like there's some people who are really uncomfortable because y'all keep talking about black women and race stuff. Is that by accident? I said, I don't do anything by accident. I said, this idea of being able to talk about women's issue through a racial justice lens is by design, because that's the reason why we're in this situation right now. So I want everyone here to understand and listen to me very carefully. We women of color are brilliant, and we are strategic, and we know exactly what we want, and we also know what needs to happen, and we're doing it. We are the boldest and the bravest in this movement. I can take you to 50 states. Let's go to the front lines of the environmental justice movement, the immigrant rights movement, racial justice, anti-police brutality. Guess what? Women. and women of color at the front lines of every movement in these United States of America. And this ain't new, because they also want to erase the history and the lineages that we come from, because women always been at the front lines. Just because the story hasn't been told that way doesn't mean it didn't happen. But you know what? We got social media now. So now we tell our own stories, and we archiving our stories. But I'll just say this. Women of color are closest to the pain, which makes us closest to the solutions. And people just got to come to terms and give us this opportunity to lead in this moment. What's the worst that's going to happen? How much worse can it get? So my love letter to women of color is this. Show up, all of you. All outrageous and angry, all of you, right? I want you to be very black and very Latina and very Asian and very trans and very Muslim and very refugee and very everything that you are. I want you to be very radical. I want you to be very progressive. Don't let anybody tell you, don't be too progressive, because you know what? When I was talking about Medicare for All 5 years ago, they were like, you're politically naive. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're bringing this socialism stuff out here. All of a sudden, 5 years later, everybody's running on Medicare for all. So whatever I say now is going to be mainstream in 5 years, just so you know. I want you to know, women of color, that you are enough. And we need all of you right now. And this country needs all of you right now. Don't ever be less of who you are to make anybody feel comfortable. And you know what? If somebody wants to stop us from what we're doing to talk about how their feelings and talk about how uncomfortable they are, they just really need to get out of the way, because we got some work to do right now. And maybe, just maybe, the over 51% of white women who continue to vote against their and our interests might get in line this time. But I'm not waiting for them, because we are the majority, and we're winning races across this country, and we're organizing, and we're mobilizing, and we're organizing the largest single-day demonstrations in American history. And we're going to stop Kavanaugh from getting on the Supreme Court. So I'm not waiting, but the doors are wide open. Everybody's welcome to our movement. So I say to you, my sisters, we are all we got. You are all I got. You give me inspiration. I am unbought and unbossed, and I'm unafraid. And I say to all of you, stay unapologetic, because she the people and we the people. Thank you very much. That's right. We got this. Speaking of unbought and unbossed is my next speaker. I've been around for a long time, but not everybody knew who I was, which is fine. Actually, I liked it that way better. But that's, too deep in right now. One of the first people to inspire me to be the person that I am today is our next speaker. As a young Palestinian Muslim American woman born and raised in Brooklyn, I saw another Palestinian Muslim American woman born and raised in Detroit, in the D. She is unbossed. She says it and tells it like it is. She is one of the boldest, most bravest women I have ever met in my entire life. She is a mom. She inspires me every day. And she has allowed me to go and tell my daughters that we made history together. And now we have not one, but two. Daily Kos reminded me of an interview that I did 7 years ago, where I said that we will have very soon women who look like me and are from my communities go into Congress. And here I told you, I'm telling you, what I say happens. I'm just saying. I'm telling you, just gotta listen to what I gotta say. Now we have not one, but two Muslim American women going to Congress. And this next speaker is just a little extra luckier, because God also chose for her to be Palestinian. I mean, so we're lucky. I don't know what to tell you. Please give it up for our next Congresswoman from the great state of Michigan, Rashida Tlaib.